Growing up, I spent a lot of time in the park. My parents, they took us camping down there all the time. I grew up riding horses down there. It's where I learned to ski. I'm an avid trail runner. I just completed my first 50K this past fall. This is Bolton. He's a 2-year-old Doberman Pinscher. He had kind of some anxiety, behavioral problems. He ended up coming to me. That is why we do a lot of running together. It's good for the anxiety. I have had the opportunity to work for a volunteer organization in the national park called the Trailblazers. We were trained by the American Red Cross in, first aid, CPR. We had those terrible storms this past spring. It was a Saturday. There's a lot of flooding, still a lot of high winds. The water comes down those straightaways, and when it hits those banks, it really digs them out. So they're like 10, 11, 12 foot. So I really had no intention to run. I'd planned on running Sunday, not Saturday. He ate the insert out of my running shoe. I called around. The only store that had it was a store up in Brecksville. One of my favorite trails is in the northern part of the park. So I was like, I'm already up here. I'm already in the northern side, which I normally don't go to. Like, I have him with me. I might as well just go for a run. So we went out. It's about a 6-mile loop. We were about 5 miles in. I didn't see anybody really that day. So I pretty much was the only one out there. He was tangled up in his lead and playing around. So I'd stopped and I was untangling him. And it was at that point that I heard kind of just a sound that was off. I didn't hear it again, so I just kind of kept going, and the trail, the way it goes, is out, and then it comes up on a road and then continues on the other side of the road. I approached the roadway. I saw that there was a car parked on the side of the road, maybe about 0.2 miles down. At that point, I heard a sound again. It just kind of almost sounded like somebody was throwing up. I thought to myself, oh, somebody must have gotten sick, and they pulled off on the side of the road. So I had started to head in the direction of my truck. And I think the fact that there was somebody else out there, the weather wasn't good. It was just strange enough that it's probably worth checking. So as I started to run towards the car, a woman got out and she started walking towards the river. And by the time she reached the riverbank was about the same time I reached her car. I hollered back, I said, ma'am, are you all right? And she said, no, my daughter's fallen in. I came down and there was a young woman and she had fallen into the river and was kind of holding on to the edge of the bank. She was really panicked, yelling, I don't want to die. She said she'd been in 5 minutes. It was about 40 degrees and we had snow earlier. Whenever I run with him, I always use a belt that goes around my waist. So I took the belt off of him. I told him to sit and stay. Her mom was there, so she was also able to comfort him a little bit. I took off his lead and I put it around her. I explained to her, if worst comes to worst, you slip while we're trying to get you out, this is gonna catch you. You're not gonna die, we're not gonna do that today. So I was able just to get down enough on the bank. It was really flooded. So I was able just to get enough leverage. We got her a fourth of the way out. By the time she was about halfway up, her mom was also able then to come and help me pull her out a little bit more. Then we finally got her up on the bank. She was like, I am a student at Bowling Green and I came to get a water sample for my class. And I slipped and I fallen in. And she was like, the water collection bottle is still up here. I grabbed her water sample for her. I got her back to the car with her mom. They ultimately decided to go to the hospital. She was treated for mild exposure. I told her, I hope you get an A on your project. The next day, one of my cousins messaged me and she said, there's this girl and she posted on Facebook. She's looking for this girl that's tall, that runs with a really big dog. I was able to get back in contact with her later. And she was a pre-med student at Bowling Green. She kind of explained that, when she was in the river, I was in there and I realized I hadn't really been living. I had just been trying to make sure I get the next application in and I get this MCAT done. And I hadn't really been enjoying life as much as I should have.